is.
Your apology has been accepted. All right, now great. So, we will continue today to speak about the Islamic civilization and how it arose and what happened after our Prophet, peace be upon him, has died. So, we have started to speak about the Muslim Empire, and while speaking about the Muslim Empire, we have mentioned some very, very, very important points. Number one is that Islam first started to spread in the Arabian Peninsula, and from the Arabian Peninsula, Islam started to move all over Africa, Asia, and also some parts of Europe. After our Prophet, peace be upon him, died, there has been some divisions in the Muslim Empire, but the first four caliphs did their best in order to obtain the nation one, united, not separated. So we have Umar ibn Khattab, we have Abu Bakr first, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. All of them tried to do their best in order to expand the Muslim Empire and later to also keep the people united. Unfortunately, while doing so, some division started to happen inside the Muslims themselves, and they had two branches. The Sunni, following the Sunnah or the tradition of our Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Shiites, or as we call them in Arabic, Shia. Shia or the Shiites, they follow the principle that the direct descendant from our Prophet, peace be upon him, must be the leader. So they named Ali to be his successor, and after Ali, his sons, Al-Hassan and Hussein, and later their sons and grandsons. So some division happened during the Muslim civilization until we have the Umayyad Caliphate. During the Umayyad Caliphate, they started the expansion to its furthest. They expanded from east to the Indus River Valley in India until Spain in Europe. So actually they expanded very, very, very much. And in order to do so, they needed so much money in order to help the troops and the army to go further and open more cities. That's why we found out that some taxes were heavily collected, and also some problems happened on the road. Not our topic to speak about today. So, we have spoken about how the Arab joined together under Islam and became one unity, and also how the Arab Muslim win victories, and start spoken also about the division between the Sunni and the Shiite, and the different leaders and their ideas, and how all of that civilization arose. So today we'll speak about the impact on North Africa. How was the impact on the people living in North Africa under the Islamic rule? I believe we have triggered something like that yesterday, and we have spoken about it. So, what do you think the impact of the people from North Africa was?
You mean the impact of the Islamic
There are people coming from, yeah, I'm living in Africa. You are coming from the Arabian Peninsula, and you conquered my land.
What impact have we made on North Africa?
Exactly. So, people coming from Mecca, Medina, they went to Cairo, they went to Morocco, they went to Algeria. So, you came with your own troops and you entered my land, and of course, I'm gonna have an impact. At that time, okay, Egypt, for example, was under the Byzantine Empire control. So the impact of the Egyptian is that they hated the Byzantine Empire and hated the rulers of them, because they stole them, they raped their wives, they applied very heavy taxes, they did not apply any sort of justice. So the impact of the people there was hatred. What about when the Muslims came? How was the impact of the people? That's what we need to know. So
the Caliphate was definitely more open to people being Christian and Jews and other religions.
So they allowed the multiple religion, diversity in religion. Good.
Yeah, and
That's
they
good
also
impact,
brought
bad impact.
Sorry?
Good impact or bad impact?
That's a good impact.
That's a good one. Nice. What else?
They brought taxes to North Africa, but I don't think that's. Yeah.
At the
That is an
beginning, the
impact.
taxes were not a problem, but later it was.
It was an impact because people then started to become Muslims, so they don't have to pay the taxes
And
or
that's
the
a bad,
tax.
and that's a very bad thing.
Yeah.
And there is no obligation in religion, meaning that you do not apply anyone or obligate him to become a Muslim or a Christian. It's his own faith, what he believes. So to convert because of the taxes, that's very bad. Right?
Yeah.
But the problem was not about converting for the taxes. The problem was in money
They
itself.
brought like a social structure where the non-Muslims weren't as
Nice.
high as the Muslims.
So they started to construct and build, and this construction helped it to rise the economy. And here is the whole situation. Once your economy is high, so for example, let's say that you make 10,000 reals a month. And if I came and I told you that I'll take 100 real out of it, out of the 10,000. So for you, it's not going to be a problem. It's just 100 real. It means 0.1, 0.1% of your old salary, of the whole salary. Just 100 real out of 10,000 real. So it's nothing, right? But the whole problem rises when you only make 1,000 real, or you only make like 200 reals. And I'm telling you that I'm gonna take 100 real out of that. So for the whole month, you're working for only 200 reals, and I just come telling you that I'm gonna take 100 real of those 200 real. That's
So
50.
half the
Yeah. So here lies the problem. So once the economy is okay, people started to pay the very simple taxes. But once division started to happen, problems started to happen, the gap between the very rich people and the very poor people started to happen. Here started the problem of the taxes. Okay? And if you can see, and this photo in front of you, here, that was in Andalus, a Jewish pharmacist dispenses medicine in a Spanish market.
Sorry?
A Jewish pharmacist dispenses medicine in a Spanish market. So a pharmacist, a chemist. Okay?
Yeah.
A chemist, and he's giving people the medicine. And he was Jewish. And the people in Spain or Andalus, so they were Muslims and Christians and Jewish. So all of the diverse religions held it together in peace. And as you can see, they are speaking to each other. They are like having fun. It's not just about the medicine, but they are look like close friends. Consequently, people did not feel to be separated or different because of their religion, and that's a good point. So to speak about the impact of the people under that civilization, actually people accepted that civilization because they did not feel any social discrimination. Following me?
Yep.
I believe only Walid is following.
My
Yeah.
teacher was following all of us.
Ibrahim, oh, that's great. Come on, guys, I need to hear your voice. Yusuf, Salim, Saad, Nawaf, Mustad.
Yes.
Yes, teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
I don't understand the paragraph, the development of slavery.
That we have not started with that yet.
Oh, I think okay.
We are still here, still in the impact of the North Africa. I hope that you didn't do bad in the exam, Salim. If it was about the exam, then it's not so smart not to talk. Oh,
It's just that
that's
he's
good.
just tired, like all of
Okay.
us. Oof.
I hope that's just some sort of hormones or something like that. But trust me, we will get you to talk. Have no worries about this. So, once again, to speak about the impact on North Africa, so it means that you are speaking about how the people feel towards the Muslims who came to rule them. And of course, the impact varied according to number one, who was doing so, number two, who was ruling, meaning who was ruling, number two, what were the methods they were using, was there any social discrimination or not, the taxes themselves, were it heavy or not. So all of these factors played a good portion in the impact on North Africa.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Are you there?
Okay. So if you can keep your ability to hear, please amuse us. Start speaking, Yusuf. The impact on
All
North
right. What?
The impact on North Africa.
Impact on North Africa. The Islamic presence in North Africa, or the Maghreb, as early Muslims called the region, led to rapid change. Arab Muslims destroyed Carthage and built a new city called Kairouan, which became known as the Holy City of Islam. They built many mosques throughout Africa. Many of the people of North Africa who quickly converted to Islam, including Berber people, also adopted some Arab costumes.
So
Yeah.
one of the main ideas or the main thing that the Arab Muslims who went to Northern Africa to do were just to build, construct, to make something good for the people. So they started first. They went to Morocco, which is Maghreb. Okay, they went to Morocco and there they started to build. They started to change the people, the ideas, and they started to build one of the most beautiful city, Qayrawan, the city of Al Qayrawan. Okay, it became a very large city. That city contained all sources of technology or sources of trade, development, flourishment, you name it. Okay, and this city became a holy city of Islam. All the people started to move towards Qayrawan, and just imagine you were living in a very, very desert situation. Okay, so most of the people in the northern Africa, we're speaking about Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, all of these people, all of their civilization was nothing but a desert civilization, tribal civilization. So they were not introduced to the custom of civilization. But once the Muslim came, they started to build them some cities. Oh, so those people are good. They are building us. They are developing us. They are leading us to a better situation. Consequently, some of people started to adapt to the Arab customs and convert into Islam. So that's the impact of the Muslim people. The blessing of my pure heavenly voice was too much for your ears. No, your devilish voice, paired with the horrible pronunciation, made my ears bleed. Actually, I like that so much. Why don't you take a profession in a stand-up comedian? Both of you.
Because we need to focus on school. Yes.
Yeah, I can see.
Yusuf actually got the chance. He was in sixth grade. He went to the stage and acted like an old witch.
Well,
Oh,
just
yeah.
It was actually the
Oh, no.
like most of the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
No.
so just imagine both
That witch walk, though.
Yusuf and Salim standing on the stage, and they are speaking like that to each other. It's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, but probably from how fat Salim is, I won't fit on the stage.
I see your point, teacher. Like,
Stop.
I see
No, you're
why
not
you want them
welcome.
to be in a stage.
Come on, guys, have mercy.
They should be in a press conference. Oh my god, that's gonna be fun.
Hey, don't speak about being fat, okay? Don't speak about being fat, because I'm gaining so much weight these days.
We all
No,
are.
you're okay. Only him that.
Don't mention that. Might hurt me. So, back to our own thing, the development of slavery. So give yourself a break for 5 minutes, otherwise I'm gonna kill all of you.
Okay.
Deal. So the development of slavery. What do you know about slavery in Islam? Nawaf?
Slavery, I think, like you bought a person.
Yeah, you buy a person.
Yeah, that was before. Now there is no.
So in the conception of Islam, is it accepted or not accepted?
Before is
Or
before
not
accept.
before when exactly?
Maybe before 200 year teacher. All the also United States teacher. When
I'm
You mean
speaking
before
about Islam,
Islam?
I'm not speaking about United States of America.
yeah, I mean all the world
Two
or
different things.
Islam.
So
Also
Islam.
America teacher at Ibrahim
Oh my
Lincoln
God.
when he cancelled.
Nawaf,
Yes.
take a breath. Okay. We're
Okay.
speaking about 1400 years ago, at the beginning of Islam, and once Islam started to arise. Okay, so at the period of Islam and the beginning of Islam until nowadays, the concept is the same: slavery, prohibited or not prohibited, allowed or not allowed.
I think it's not allowed to in Islam.
Not allowed in Islam. So in Islam, prohibition. Uh, Islam has prohibited slavery, no slavery. But of course, once our Prophet peace be upon him came, okay, he did not just stop slavery at once, because all of the people were living their lives dependable upon the slaves, and it was a trade, and most of the people were living on it. So you cannot just end it like that, especially that they were still a fresh religion and not all of the people entered it. But later, once our Prophet peace be upon him was capable of constructing his own empire and his own country, the Muslim empire, so he stopped and banned slaves. So slaves are not allowed in Islam. That's it. Okay, but unfortunately, what happened later with that? Remember when we spoke a little bit ago about the social discrimination and that how some people will be very rich, some people will not? That's what will cause the impact, right? So if you are living in a very, very wealthy family, okay, or a very wealthy country, you will become very wealthy. But some other people will not become very wealthy. So this gap will happen. Remember when we spoke yesterday about the gap and the bingo? I believe we spoke about the gap of the community. That the community later, some centuries after our Prophet, started to take that shape. like the leader, they were at the first all were alike. All the Muslims were the same. Okay, all of them at the same level. But later the differences started to arise. The caliph or the leader and the scholars and the officials and the Persian traders and the farmers and slaves. So where did the slave come from? Islam has prohibited slavery. So where did they come from? Of course, we have many types of slaves. Okay, number one, they have the first type of slaves. We don't call them slaves actually. We call them in custody. Those whom we take in the action of wars. So if our troop went to war and we won, we take some people in our custody. Okay, so those are not super slaves, but they will later be sent away. Number two, some people actually, non-Arab, especially the non-Arab, they have been taken and sold as slaves. And here started the whole problem of slavery. Because Islam has prohibited slavery, then why did you accept people to become your slaves? Unfortunately, later, after some centuries after our Prophet, peace be upon him, died, the leaders or the caliphs or the imams or whatever in the dynasty, the Umayyad, the Abbasid, all of the other dynasties, they needed some people to serve them. And they took them in under the title of workers, not slaves. But it was an action of slavery, unfortunately. Okay, so slavery actually developed after our Prophet, peace be upon him, stopped that and punished that. Unfortunately, it came back, but in other forms. And what helped us also, or what helped to arise that thing is, so me think. And what helped to arise that problem also is what the social discrimination between Arabs and non-Arabs. That's number one, and also the social gap between the very wealthy people and the non-wealthy people. Got the idea?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Ibrahim, can you amuse us?
Yeah, sure. One second. Okay. Wait. Is your screen frozen or am I reading the development of slavery?
The development of slavery.
Okay. The growth of the Muslim Empire into North Africa in the 8th and 7th centuries helped to explain the development of the slave trade. In some cases, Muslim conquerors enrolled their captives and their armies. Over time, Muslim Arabs increased the number of slaves purchased and seized in West Africa. These enslaved people were then transferred across the Sahara and then sold in North Africa. This
Okay, so wait. What are the difference between enslaved and slaves?
Enslaved, a slave, like it has the same word root. Okay, so
yes,
enslaved is like the opposite. Not the opposite, but like he was a slave, but then like he got
the
free.
opposite.
He got like free.
The opposite.
No, I think teacher enslaved is like people who were normal people, then they were made into slaves.
That's it. So once the
Isn't
Muslim
everyone like was a normal thing, and then he sells?
Are you slaves now?
Sells. No, but he sells
So
himself. Like I
imagine,
can sell myself and I can become a slave, but I do not want that. Like,
Teacher, it's like what what's it called? It's like what the Spartans did to the people that lived in Laconia. They made them into helots, so they were enslaved.
so actually it happened in all the civilization, not only the Spartan people, not the Athenian, not the Macedonian, all civilization in the world. Once you find a troop, an army, marching to another place, another country, another city, once he enters and penetrates the city, all the people in the city will become enslaved, Why we call them enslaved? Because they were free and became slaves after that army invaded them. Yeah, it's the same thing. Nice example, of course. So the word enslaved means that you are a free person. Someone from the outside of your country came to you and he attacked your country, and later you found yourself a slave. Come on, I was I was free yesterday, but now you are a slave. So that's the meaning of enslaved. So because the troops of the Arab people, okay, moved all over through that place, the people who were taken in the action of war, we call them in custody. Okay, in custody, you're not slave, but unfortunately, what happened is we're not so proud of it, but they became slaves. Okay, of course, our Prophet peace be upon him has told us never to harm a man in custody after the action of war, but they just made them slaves and started to sell them once again. And that was very, very bad. So this trans-Saharan slave trade developed and expanded even further during the 10th and also 15th centuries, during the rule of the West African kingdoms of Ghana, Mali, and also Songhai, or Songhai, which is Senegal nowadays, which you will read about in lesson number 6 later. This lucrative trade added to the great wealth of these kingdoms. So that's very, very bad thing. But most of the slaves were trans over the Great Sahara in Africa, and that helped actually in the economy of some people because the economy was very bad then. Last point we will mention today is the Umayyad Caliphate decline. What can cause any civilization to decline? So we need the common factor of any civilization to decline. Number one,
the
Corruption in the government.
the
Corruption.
corruption, the
Yes,
leaders,
the
corrupted
leaders.
leaders,
Corrupted leaders and leaders.
People discontent
The discontent people problem.
and
there is
invasion.
more, but it's in this generation, not like
Like,
uh, like the police and the military or the health or like
so
maybe money issues as well.
military, that's also way
Coup
actually a
happened
cool thing.
internally.
Because once your policy, yeah, we can hear you well. Just a second. So if the police and military, they are very corrupted, consequently the common people will become very discontent out of them. So that would lead also to some sort of rebellion or revolution, and this will help in the decline. And actually it happened in the Umayyad Caliphate, and I will speak about that in a minute. What else? Yes, Walid, what did you say?
An internal coup.
Internal coup, yes. That happened in Baghdad during the Umayyad Caliphate.
Tita,
What
what's a
happened?
coup? What?
I'll tell you now. Like a rebellion against the Caliphate.
That is illegal. So not an invasion or anything, just
Yes.
some illegal stuff to bring your government down.
Any other ideas? Come on, guy, think.
Maybe like, what was the question?
What can cause any civilization to decline?
People like it lose its wealth, or like another neighboring countries attack it. So like it
War, the leader becoming very weak, the country, the official become very corrupted, people become very discontent, social discrimination between the people themselves, an internal coup when people start to fight each other. So all of these factors play an important role in the decline of any civilization all over the history. So what happened to the Umayyad people? So let's see. Number one, first, the ruler themselves became very, 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 very weak. And actually, their weakness was an act of laziness. Again, the weakness of the Umayyad Caliphate or caliphs was an act of laziness. At the beginning of Islam, once a dynasty starts to arise or a caliph comes to power, so he takes the responsibility of the country he's holding control by himself. Umar ibn Khattab said, if a cow tripled in Iraq and I am Umar here in Mecca, I'll be asked about it in the judgmental day. So he took the responsibility for everything happening in whole of his land, okay, all of the Islamic empire, upon his shoulders. Consequently, they started to develop, started to go further, started to expand, started to flourish, started to develop. Everything good because he took the responsibility by himself. But later, after some centuries, the Umayyad caliphs, okay, the one who came to power, they started to test the luxurious life. So, okay, Yusuf, you go to Baghdad and you rule there. Ibrahim, you go to Damascus. Walid, you go to Egypt. Okay, you go to this country. You go to Morocco, and he starts to dispense the officials to rule instead of him. So, or to rule in his name, and he didn't pay any attention to those rulers, whether they are doing something good or something bad. And if an official becomes very corrupted, he will not even know out of that. The last caliph in the Umayyad Caliphate, there was an internal coup in Iraq, Baghdad. Okay, so the people there, they became very fed up out of him because he only stayed all of his day in his palace, enjoying his luxurious life, taking the taxes from the people, and not taking any interest in them. Consequently, what would happen? Very simple. The people, they did not like him, and they just kicked him out of the caliphate. So you are not our caliphate anymore. And they assigned his uncle, I believe. I can't remember his name. So they assigned his uncle to become the caliph in Baghdad. Okay, this is not the problem. You know where the problem is? The problem is that he did not even know that the people dispensed him from the caliphate and assigned his uncle until some years later.
What? So you're sending commands and...
No, because he didn't do any of this. He just assigned some official to take his place. And the people around him, they were very corrupted. Just imagine a person who would just send people to do his job. So what kind of people will be around him? So the people around him, they are very corrupted also. And if they have told him about this, perhaps he would have dispensed them and kicked them out. So they didn't want this to happen, so they didn't tell him until some years later. And of course, once he knew, he went back there to the people and he made like an agreement with them. Okay, so becoming so corrupted because to just leave your own job to assign some other people to do that, this was some of the reasons that helped the Umayyad Caliphate to decline. And also the social discrimination that started to happen between the Arab and the non-Arab. Oh, I'm an Arab person, I'm better than you, so I'll take this place in the government. But I'm a non-Arab, but I'm far more better than you. I fit more than you in this job. No, but you are a non-Arab, so you will not do this. So social discrimination also played an important role in the decline of the Umayyad Caliphate. Okay?
Okay.
I have a question, teacher.
Yes, Nawab.
The reason the Arabs had, I know that the Shia defeated the Umayyad caliphs.
No.
No, here, teacher. Shit, here, teacher. You see, Shiites considered the Umayyad caliphs to be illegitimate rulers of the Islamic community.
Yes.
Here means that Shia defeated the Umayyad, yes?
No.
Okay, who defeated them? He say here the Umayyad Caliphate declines.
Okay, so we have here, okay, the Shiites considered the Umayyad Caliphate to be illegitimate rulers, meaning that I'm your ruler right now, I'm your king, okay? But you do not believe in that. What can you do?
I will say to you, we want all to be king.
But you can't, because I'm your king, and you don't have enough force power to force me not to do that.
No, I can't. If you are very strong and I don't have anyone, I
But they
will.
were not strong. All they planned was the situation I told you about in Baghdad, because most of Baghdad was Shia, so they tried to make a coup against the Umayyad Caliphate. And of course, the Umayyad Caliph went there and fixed the situation later. But they did not get into war. They did not defeat them. Like, for example, you consider Mr. Ahmed to be a very bad teacher. Okay? It's just consideration. On the other hand, Yusuf considers Mr. Ahmed to be a very good teacher. Still, consideration.
Consider teacher means like your opinion.
Yeah, your own opinion.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So there was no act of war. They did not leave them or anything.
But you see, teacher here, while conquest continued, vast wealth flowed into Umayyad hand. What mean vast wealth flowed?
Where?
Here in the first line,
while
the second.
continued conquest, meaning the invasion of other countries. Vast wealth flowed into the Umayyad hands because once they move from one city to city, they take control of these cities and also their fortunes.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
You are very welcome. Any other question?
Thank you.
All right, grade 9. I hope that you have a good day. Merci beaucoup. So take care and do your best in your next exams. And see you tomorrow. Bye. I'm very welcome. Yeah. Bye, Yusuf.